Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up?
Welcome back to another week of Let's Chop It Up. Brothers, how you doing? How was your week, Rod?
My week is good. I know the weather's changing. Went out today, noticed that there's long lines everywhere, which is crazy. You gotta wait on the line just to get into certain stores now. It's just different. It's just different. But other than that, everything is good. I still hate going to the mall. Other than that.
Derik, how was your week, brother?
It is.
Oh, Derik!
Oh, yeah. Cheers. Water crew in here, baby. Water crew.
Yeah, that's right. That's what my week is like now, man. I'm on some health. You know what, man? I'm just trying to get myself been back in the gym the fourth weekend in a row.
Man.
Now, today I didn't go today because I had to. But my wife and I couldn't get my train, but my wife and I went last night. We had a really cool date night. All right. Okay. So we got rid of the kids, you know what I mean? And because they had off for the week, sent them over to the aunts. Her and I went out. I said, hey babe, we were gonna go to the bar, but I was like, no, let's do something different. We went out to the gym together. All right. Wow. Hit the gym together, man, and after we hit a nice health food spot out in America. I mean in Roosevelt Mall. That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
Nice.
So yeah, nice restaurant too. Very nice restaurant.
Nice.
So healthy.
Nice.
So had it, man. It was nice, man. We had a really nice night. So that's what my weekend right now. I'm just drinking water now. You see what I'm doing right now.
Right? So keep up good work, Derek. Keep up
I want to lose my games, man. So but that's what it was like. So.
Cool. Kelvin, how was your week, brother?
It's pretty good, man. This is Holy Week, and it's the highest week on the Christian calendar. So, very, very excited about that. People all over the world celebrating, and so holiday week. I thought everything was good. Winter came back for the remix the other day, though.
Yeah.
I woke up one morning. It was brick out here. But I'm excited, fellas. I'm really optimistic. And out of all of the foolishness that's going on in the world, we still have each other. We still have our people. We still have our health. So with that said, I'm excited. It was a good week.
Cool. I had a cool week. I got to hang out with my man Rod last night. We chopped it up and had dinner. My niece came in town, my favorite niece.
Yeah.
And little D's upstairs chilling and having a good time. So I was a win. This whole week was a win. Good week.
And I appreciate when you and Rod hang out and the rest of us don't know. That's a good
look. That's nice.
That's cool. That's cool. No, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want that to get out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever like that. So if it was meant to be a secret, it worked.
I had other plans, but I would have liked them known.
Yeah. We found it out. As the people at home are finding out. But
spontaneous. It wasn't.
Yeah, I figured Kelvin it was Good Friday. Kelvin would be busy. Derek, I know he had, probably had a date night. So me and Rod said, listen, we the two sinful motherfuckers. So let's go hang out.
Yeah. We're getting prepared to go to hell. So
it's all right. It was hot.
What is wet?
Word. So one thing I want to start the show, man. One of our brothers just became one of our ancestors. A brother, Craig Mums Grant, actor from the TV show Oz. Jamie, can you show a picture of who our brother is? That's our brother right there. Mums was a brilliant actor. Died left us too soon, man. I mean, the brother was 52 years old. Still had the world ahead of him. They haven't announced the cause of death yet, but peace to him, peace to his family. Nothing but prayers and love from the brothers that let's chop it up.
Not just a great actor, he also was a great poet as well, too.
I met him on a couple occasions. Yeah, exactly. He was a poet. Met him on a couple occasions. Beautiful dude.
Yeah. I used to see him when I used to go up to 125th Street. I used to see him a lot up there just walking around.
Yeah. And it was what's that Shark Bar? Them brothers used to a lot of people from Oz and those shows to do. I took it back. Shark Bar is a spot.
Yeah.
Long time. We used to pull some things out there. A lot of candy, a lot of eye candy on the Shark Bar.
Yeah.
They don't make spots like that anymore.
Nah, they need to bring that back.
Yeah, man. They could call it the whale bar, anything. I'm down. I'm coming.
Yeah. The goldfish bar. Just whatever you want to do.
Guppies, anything.
The fried fish bar, whatever.
And today, man, like it was some bad news. Our brother DMX apparently had an overdose. One of the greatest artists of all time. I truly am. DMX is in my top 10 MCs of all time. If you ever went to a DMX show, you never been to a hip hop show. This brother is full of energy. From the time he came on, I remember that Rough Riders and what's the Jay-Z that tour when Jay-Z was co-member. There was Jay-Z and all of them were there. He had, remember, the beginning of the tour, he came on before Jay-Z, but Jay-Z couldn't follow him. So they had to switch it up. He came on. So DMX, I mean, apparently it's a drug overdose. He's gonna look like he's on life support. Let's hope the brother come through this, man. Like, pray for DMX, man.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Very unfortunate, you know.
Good dude.
Addiction is very serious.
Inspirational too in a lot of ways, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, just all the things that he had come through and overcome, and just kind of see what, you know, how he was still standing, and I really need that dude to just, you know, be better, man.
Yeah, it was the older person that got him addicted to crack. If you ever watched the Rough Rider story, it's really sad. Like that, he was only like 14 years old. For young people don't know what a woola is, like it was cocaine, crack mixed inside a cigarette, and somebody gave it to him. The blood, maybe weed. And they fucked him up and got him addicted to that. And it's a sad thing to say, because all of us that lived through the 80s and 90s, we know how it is with family members and friends that battle that crack addiction, man. So shout out to brother DMX, man. Come on, DM, fight. Where my dogs at? What's your favorite DMX song? What's your favorite DMX song, anybody? Real quick.
Oh, you already know.
Name? What's my name? You know that.
What's my name?
We'll hook that because I understand the perspective.
My thing is, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here.
Yeah. People, that still comes on at parties and cookouts to this day.
Word out. That's why I try to tell young people, those are classics. I don't know what's going to be considered a classic from this.
Well, you know what I like about it the most? Because people try to have a distinct sound, and you knew who it was.
Yeah,
you knew who it was. Right. He was a character too. He was a character also.
Yep.
You know, I met him one time at JFK. You know, and the dude is funny. He's the only person that will get on radio, tell people he ain't got no license while he driving and get pulled over during the interview.
Leave the radio station, jump right into a car driving.
That's funny classic. Man. That's so funny classic. So, brothers, I know you've been probably watching the news, listening to radio and stuff like that, social media. The chopping block. I forgot. On the chopping block. Case in Minnesota. This, I would say, subhuman cop, Derik Bazemore. His body cameras and all that stuff. We all saw the case and trial going on, the reaction to George Floyd, the ambulance. I think it's like 12 different camera angles. I don't think we've ever seen nothing like this before with so many angles. Thoughts, gentlemen, on what y'all seen so far in the trial, and how do you feel about what's going on so far?
I'm concerned, man. I'm concerned about the national trauma we're going through just by watching it, man. You know what I mean? Like we don't really think about. We have to really kind of like, and I know we have to listen. We have to be aware. We have to know that this happens. But it seems like we've seen this story so many times, man. It's like right now, it's almost like, you know, to me, it almost feels like they had this show back in the days. What was it called? Faces of Death or something like that. Or Fear.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that was horrible. That was graphic.
Yeah, don't you? It feels almost like that, like a psychic version of that, man. That we just constantly see this play itself over again and over again.
Well, that's where I'm at, Derek. I'm desensitized to it, and I think that's the problem. That's the real shame of it, also, that you can't even have the expectation. I mean, right now, if you were to poll people privately, I would expect the man to just get off just because that's what usually happens. And I don't know that he would get off, but I'm saying if he does, we're not shocked, and that's the problem. In other words, we look at justice like it's roulette. Like hopefully there's a chance, like it's almost gambling, like it's a flip of a coin, and that's the problem. So I have to admit I haven't followed it as closely because of that, you know. And I think on some level it's like I don't want to get myself upset because of the letdown that I anticipate happening, and that's wrong as well, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like this feels like the suspense of OJ trial, but we're looking for the outcome of Rodney King. Yeah, and that's what. So it's like it's the emotional roller coaster that we all are on. Like you said it best. It feels like we're gambling. It's roulette. I might get black. I might get red. You know what I'm saying? But my money's on black. But I got red. You know, so
right.
It's so traumatizing. Like, you know, and look at the people that were also on that witnessed it. In that case, well, I want you all to notice everybody had guilt, felt guilt. The guy that got the $20 bill from the register, the young boy, the people that was filming it, the brother with the martial arts, the EMS people, the operator. Only person that doesn't feel guilt,
and the firefighter.
The firefighter. Only person that feel guilt is fucking Derik. Not you, Derik. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like,
hey man, I had to get my sister.
People cried. Derik Bazemore looked like an asshole cop got Rodney that you probably worked with before, and you just want to put hands on him. You know what I'm saying? You know, so
The thing is, no, I totally can relate to everything that you guys are saying. You would look at something like this and you would automatically think that this trial should be a slam dunk, right?
Yeah.
Basically, he should be convicted, no questions about it. When I saw the videos that we didn't see before, and also realized that he had his knee on his neck longer than we actually thought from the beginning. Now we almost were like at 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Derik Chauvin is the prime example of a bad cop. And if you get a bad cop on a scene, how tragic it could wind up being. There's so many things they did wrong that day. And the thing is, like, I see it different. You guys know I have the background in law enforcement. Like, those other two guys that were rookies, they pretty much were at the mercy of Derik Chauvin, because the way it works is the senior officers in charge. So they're following his lead. You know what I mean? So when you got a bad cop and other people are following his lead, it's going to end bad. It's going to end bad.
Right.
You know
speak about the culture of that, like on the police department, treat younger cops. Can you talk about a little bit about the culture, like how that works out, like them witnessing that? What will happen? What's some of the things that you have seen that will happen to some of these young guys if they would have stopped them or set them on the scene?
Well, the thing is, like I said, you know, when the cops, those two guys are rookie cops, the culture of the police department is that rookies stay in their place, right? Senior cop is pretty much always right. What he says goes. And basically, if a rookie tries to step up and challenge or question what a senior cop is doing, that could wind up in badly, because that senior cop is going to go back to the station house, spread the word about him, and say, oh, this guy's trouble, he's a problem. And then next thing you know, you got all these other cops getting on his case, harassing him, and he's different. He's not part of our culture. You know, that's the way I look at it when I see this situation with Derik Chauvin. He's leading this scene, leading it very badly. You have a person that you kind of put in the back of a car. He's showing anxiety. He's telling you that he's claustrophobic, and you're trying to shove him in the back of a car. You got the cuffs on him already, so he can't be too violent. You couldn't be worried too much about his size because you were able to cuff him. All you had to do was sit him on the sidewalk, sit him on the sidewalk by a wall, and wait for EMS to come. You can't take him to the station house anyway.
Let me ask you another question, Rob. I know I want to stay on the topic too long, but I want to ask you: once they had him in the car, what would make an officer take a person out the car?
Well, he shouldn't have been in the car in the first place. Like I said, he's showing a high level of anxiety. You know what I mean? He's screaming out. He's got claustrophobia. He's pushing back as far as going into the car. You don't want to put somebody that may be intoxicated, may be on drugs or whatever, in a closed area.
Gotcha.
It doesn't look good. You know, people flip out in the back of the car. They start kicking the windows out. It gets ugly. You're basically putting them in a position to force them to be violent. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, he's under a lot of stress. Yeah.
And the person that held up like a G, that brother Donald Williams, he said, like, yo, did you call him a bum? He said, that's what the video said. That's what you saw in the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he said, he still said, he said, he looked at him and like, he's still a bum. Like, basically, he looked right at him and said, oh, he's still like a bum or something.
Yeah.
He's like, that brother was like a G.
He said, I was getting angry because I was pleading for life.
Yeah.
He said, I seen somebody basically in a bad situation. I was pleading for life.
Yeah. And Brad said right there, they should keep saying the thing, because first they had it flipped and said it was the George Floyd trial to make it look, and they try to attack his character, make it think like George Floyd was on trial. George Floyd's on trial. He paid his due to the world. He's gone. He's no more.
Yeah.
Transition George Floyd. It's not the George Floyd trial, exactly.
Right.
It's the Derik Chauvin trial.
Derik Chauvin trial. Yeah. You know, and
I want to say one more thing. The thing is, the crime didn't suit the behavior. Like, we're talking about a counterfeit bill. I'll tell you the truth. When I was on a job and we would respond to jobs with counterfeit bills, the bottom line, there was no police action really to be taken. The bill would be confiscated. We would take it back. We would do some paperwork, and we would drop the bill off at the borough to be processed, because you can't really prove it. The person knows that it's a counterfeit bill.
Correct.
Right? One of us could have a counterfeit bill in our pocket right now, and we don't even realize it, because we transfer money constantly. You know, and it's hard to prove that a person is intentionally transferring a counterfeit bill. The crime is extremely minor. Extremely minor.
This man lost his life over 21s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I would have put in a girl's G-string back in the day.
And I tell you now, right now, back in the days, long time ago, the strip club was the perfect place to exchange money.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you another place. I'm gonna tell you another place. When you used to go through the toll booth, Brad and I had a friend. They supposed to get rid of the counter for money. You used to bring it through the toll booth because I used to work at the toll plaza. We don't count the money. It's coming. Yeah. It's just too fast.
You're fast. You gotta do it fast.
So it's just sad.
Yeah, you go in the strip club with about 100 counterfeit 20s, exchanging for singles.
Yeah, but very good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Spend some and walk out with some.
That's right. It's like you get paid to party. Yeah.
He wasn't resisting arrest. And you've seen it before, Ron. You've seen it 1,000 times. You arrested quite a few people.
Chauvin. Didn't something happen with Chauvin with a 17-year-old boy just a bit before that?
Chauvin had 22 complaints in 19 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 19 years. That's why he should be. All his characters should be on trial. The thing with some white people is this, right? They pulled the whole opiates thing, right? Like save the children, get all this help out. So George Floyd had a drug abuse problem. Where's the sympathy in that?
Yeah.
You gotta have all the sympathy for all these kids popping pills, all this other shit. So him and his girlfriend said we battling. How many of us in our families have people or friends we know battling as a couple to get together and save their lives that's on drugs?
You know what gets me? And I was thinking about this week. Everything right now is, if you say something about gay people, Jewish people, this, that, everything, cancel culture. Nobody cancel racism. Racism been here. I'm talking about it is just as potent and prevalent as it's ever been. Nobody has canceled racism. I'm talking about the joint is doing jumping jacks like it's in better shape than it was. I'm like straight up. You don't hear nobody canceling that. It's
racism is a full-time job on overtime.
And COVID gave racism like it was steroids for racism. Made it ante up even more. It was crazy. It was a crazy time, man.
Yo, tell me if you guys picked up on this when the girlfriend was on the stand. Basically, she gave her opinion of George Floyd and how their relationship was and how they used to hang out and go on dates and they would eat. And then when the prosecutor asked her, he said, "Was he an active guy?" She said, "Oh yeah, he was very active."
We know George Floyd did a little porno life.
George Floyd was putting it down. He was like, she's like, "Oh, he was very."
I got one last observation I made on this case, and before we go to the next topic, can anybody in Minnesota get a haircut? Everybody came to testify had a hairline. They like a hairline. The white guy is on Derik shaving his head. Everybody needs a goddamn haircut in Minnesota. Can we get some barbers in Minnesota, please? Somebody in Minnesota. I don't have no idea what's going on out there in Minnesota, man. So the next thing we're about to talk about is this carjacking with these young teenagers in DC. And I just want to tell people before we show the video, this is very graphic. If you have children with you, please take them out the room. This is very graphic. These are underage young ladies. They did a horrible crime. For those who know, these young ladies carjacked this Uber driver. And unfortunately, this man passed away from his injuries from this thing. So, Jamie, can you show the video for the people, please?
They're teams. What's going on? This is my car. No, this is my car. Stop it! Oh my God! She's stealing their car. She's stealing the car? Yeah, we called the car. Call the car. They stole the car. They stole the car. Hey, come out. Hey, they stole the car. They stole the car. These girls. Go. That's it. Everybody, I need you to step back in the seat. That's all what happened.
This is real sad because a man lost his life and two young people just lost their lives. So now they're going to be in incarcerated or some kind of juvenile services. So sad. Peace to his family. Hope this brother rests in peace and power. So.
Yeah. The GoFundMe is up to $1 million now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it was so sad with this generation and about self. When that video was told me, they always think about themselves. The young girl wanted to go back for her cell phone.
Her phone. Yeah. That was her concern, was her phone.
Not if the man was okay. What did I do? Will my parents be embarrassed, or whoever family member that care for him and love him? And that was sad, you know. And I just hope these young ladies get some kind of help. I don't know how to. I don't know. The biggest question: what do you do with them?
I think that. Go ahead.
No,
Derek,
no. I think we're in a very detached time. People are just very detached from one another, detached from their emotions, detached from the community, each other, and unfortunately, I think that's where our children. This is the time our children are being raised in. That's, you know what I mean. I don't think they have the muscle, the mental and emotional muscle to be that compassionate enough to ask what's going on with him. You know what I mean? It's just we're just at a completely. They're raised selfish almost right now, man. You know, so I just think it's really messed up right now. I don't know where. I don't know. They're not giving us. They already have a couple strikes on them. You know, the young women. You know, young black girls. There's video of the situation. There's nothing that we can really do. That I can see. There's no way for us to fight for them at this point. You know what I mean? There's not enough ammunition for us to go to bat for them at this point, and I just don't really know. Where this is headed for them, and it's sad, you know. It's really sad.
Kelvin, what you about to say?
You know, when I was a kid, there was a real concerted effort from our parents to make sure that we were not exposed to sex and violence very, very early, to the point where you do get desensitized toward it, or it becomes the norm. And I think violence in particular, you know, I look at the way people drive, video games, and just everything seems to be, these kids are just used to it. I'm a grown man, and looking at that video is disturbing. They were in the scene, and it just seemed like it's just another day. Like if nobody would have apprehended them, like they'd have just been somewhere else tomorrow, just on their phone or whatever. And I think that's the frightening thing. I don't think people, especially younger people, don't value life. And you make a good point. The thought of this, and I'm glad that on this video that the man's body wasn't shown. They actually were able to cover it up and kind of.
Ron, you want to say something?
Smear his body out, because obviously the man has passed away. But yeah, I think that's really, really a disturbing part.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off what Kelvin said. Is we're in a society where like ugliness is becoming too acceptable now. It's becoming too normal. You know what I mean? You know, basically, allegedly, supposedly, one of the girls kind of admitted that they went there with the intent to steal a car so that they can get around or whatever, you know, not realizing that that might not have been their intent to go there and cause this man to lose his life. But when you go there to commit a crime, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and they're not thinking about that at all. You know what I mean? And like you said, Dee, earlier, like just to show you where her mind is at, her main concern was her phone. You know, and it's just very sad. It just goes to show you, like with my kids in here, we have to pay a lot of attention to our young ones being on the computer constantly, to the point where it becomes like an addiction. You know what I mean? Right. They constantly have to live with that iPad, that phone, or whatever, and they feel like life is zero without it. You know?
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's like the detachment. You know what I mean? They're in their entire world. It's what they hold in their hands, and how they relate to people that they never touch, will never, you know what I mean, don't spend any real time with. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's sad. They're completely detached from humanity at this point.
Well, I think about that, man. To answer Dee's question directly, I think they obviously need to be incarcerated. Now, I think what happens in there is the issue. Obviously, there's got to be some culpability when you're able to do adult things, although your mind is not there yet. You sometimes are going to have to pay an adult price. Now, I do think that someone that young can be redeemed. I think there is some redemption for them, but I think you're going to have to pay a price for two reasons. One, because of what you did. Two, other people need to see the example, and that there has to be repercussion to your actions. And so what I would do is I would have them incarcerated, but I would try to do something where they could be in a position where you would lose primarily your freedom, but you wouldn't necessarily lose, I guess, the ability to go to school or to learn or to mature in a safe environment. I think they need to be protected. This idea of just throwing them in some detention center, and then they just have to fend for their lives and all those things. I think that's why prison reform and things like that need to happen. But they're definitely, if that was a relative of yours, it'd be very, very hard to see a slap on the wrist. Somebody suggested on the radio that they should, get 6 months and then all that stuff like that. No, it just doesn't.
No.
That
would be no. Because the thing, they will get school, and I intern in juvenile detention center. They will get school in there and stuff like that. But it's not pretty in those juvenile spots. It is really not pretty in the spots.
The thing is, like, the oldest one is 15, right?
Yep.
13 and 15. So then basically, I'm not saying this is what they should get or whatever, but just say if the oldest gets 10 years, she'll be 25 when she gets out. The thing is, from 15 to 25, that's a very dangerous period to be totally missing out of society. You know what I mean? To be thrown back into society at 25 years old from the age of 15, like, it's going to be very difficult to acclimate back into society at that age.
And you know what? It's amazing. I was thinking about this. When I was a kid, we would do things that we know we had no business doing. It could be like throwing rocks or whatever like that. And if an adult came, we would run. Like, there used to be something about when authority came, you were scared of it, or you had a respect for it or whatever. To actually have a confrontation with this man, the man is standing there saying, "It is my car," and they're not going to give it up. And then the other thing is, from the man's standpoint, and I would say to anybody, I would plead, if you don't think, if somebody's trying to do something like that, you've got to let them take it.
Yeah.
Just I don't care what my father used to tell me. He said, you can always buy it back, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because now this man's family, and don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming this man in any way. I'm just saying, if you're ever in a situation like that where, hey, give me your jewelry, here you go, you got it, you got a weapon or you whatever, you got it. I'm not gonna,
especially the car. Yeah. Those things are insured, especially with Uber the full. Like Kelvin said, we're not blaming the family. We're just trying to warn other people. If you're ever in that kind of situation, just let it go. Max said it best last week. They stealing stuff in the bottom of his house, and he's protecting his wife and his son. So that's all he cares about. Like, everything else can be replaced. So
that's all.
Yeah. The thing is, I've seen it so many times where people hold on to property, and you say, why are they holding on to it? It's not worth it. But in his mind, that Uber car is how he makes his living.
That's what I was going to say, Rodney. Yep.
That's how he makes his living. That's how he feeds his family. And we all know, the car gets stolen, he may have to wait 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get another check get a new car, whatever. So when and the thing is too, I think he's from Pakistan, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Immigrant too.
Yeah. I'm sure he probably was a very hard worker. That car was probably everything to feeding his family. And that's how he probably was thinking.
But again, the alternative is, now you don't feed your family. Now you're not around them. Now you're not whatever. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's just it. Because what I realize is this: if someone is bold enough to do certain things, if they're bold enough to break in your house, they're bold enough, you know what I'm saying? Then you don't know what they're capable of. And I think he probably looked at it like, these are girls. And the girls that we knew growing up, these are not the same kids. These kids have the mind of somebody much older. Right. You know what I mean? And so, Rodney, I definitely get your point. But at the same time, unless it's my life on the line or someone I love life on the line, then you got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kids are very disrespectful now. Yeah, that's right there. Children are absolutely God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the kids are definitely thinking different. Thinking different.
And speaking of children, Matt Gaetz, he has a thing for children himself. So he's facing some federal charges. Them feds don't play those games, man. Them letter boys is a different kind of ball game. So he's having allegedly, before anybody tries to, sexual acts and trafficking young people. I'll leave it at that. Guys, your thoughts on Matt Gaetz?
Mr. Matt Gaetz couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but Matt Gaetz is in a lot of trouble. And if you notice, if you're paying attention to the news.
Yo, so Brad Rope, sorry, but go ahead.
When he was a kid.
Touche.
Matt Gaetz is this investigation is coming out more and more every day if you're following it, I'm going to tell you something, right? When you see an investigation on somebody at the level of Matt Gaetz, who's a congressman, and this to get out, there's definitely some fire there. It's not just smoke. There's some fire there. And it seems like I said, it keeps expanding every day. He's also tied with some guy named
Rod, hit the mute button. Hit your mute button. You hit your mute button.
Oh, sorry. You can hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the last thing I said?
You say he's tied with somebody.
Oh, he's tied to some guy named Joe Greenberg, who also basically they were like forging IDs. So they don't know if they were forging these IDs for younger girls or what have you. But it looks like there's some serious stuff here against Matt Gaetz.
Oh, Matt Gaetz. Remember Jared from Subway?
Yeah, Jared. Yeah, he was a pedophile. Yeah.
Jared got caught because his man got caught.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So this is the same thing. It's like his man got caught. They was all like birds of a feather flock together type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like this is a culture with these white boys. Because let me ask you something. You remember the Spurs? What was it? The Spurs game? Spurs posse back in '93. White boys that cut tabs on girls and stuff like that, and sex and all that, and rating girls. I don't know if it's a white boy thing, but they always do that kind of rating women type of thing. Like, who does that shit? Like, brother, like we all men, we don't do that shit. Like, yo, this girl get a 10, this girl gets 8, and go and then if you suck
little
a titty,
black book, little black book.
I suck a titty, you know. But it's something weird. Like those kind of pedophile people always in packs. It's not like a pedophile be a one. It's always somebody else with them or down with like a cult or some shit like that. Man.
I tell you one thing.
There's going to be a snowball effect on this. You're going to see. Oh yeah. It started with the guy Joe Greenberg, and then it went to Matt Gaetz, and then supposedly Matt Gaetz was showing pictures to some other people that were also in the house. Yeah, so this thing is
he tried to throw bitch ass Tucker Carlson down with him. Like, you know, Tucker was like,
I don't know nothing about that.
I don't fuck with you on that now. I don't fuck with that shit now. That's not my style, you know.
But now you remember Anthony Weiner, right?
Yeah.
Remember, I mean, you know,
Dirty Weiner.
These men and these fetishes, man. But I don't understand this thing with children, and I mean, it is so prevalent. I mean, a lot of the sex trafficking with children and things like that. And so I used to really follow the show How to Be a Predator, and it gave you an idea to look into the mind of these people. And I'm talking about, you see guys on there with just got married 6 months ago. One guy works for Nickelodeon. It is definitely a sickness.
It is.
It is definitely a sickness. There's no other way around it. It is a sickness. And
it can't be rehabilitated either, Kelvin. It can't be. You can't go to jail for it and you're fixed. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you know, and think about the level of discipline you have to do to get to this level in your career. How you have to hide this and balance that and things. That's the frightening part. You know, that is the frightening part. And that same person will stand up and defend legislation for children or something like that when they get in front of people. And so that's the frightening thing.
You know, and the thing is with them, right? They had this argument about always this wet ass pussy thing with what's her name, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, but they own party have all this other shit going on with these pedophiles. Like you got Donald Trump, all these other motherfuckers all together, always doing some wild shit, but they don't talk about it. They will skip across that shit. Like even the trial was going. You turn to Fox News, they don't even mention. They're not even showing it. So it's just like they let shit go on. Like, come on, man, they protect like
Fox News. Big
ass evangelical bastards, man.
D, me and you know, Fox News is not legitimate news.
No,
it's not.
Man.
You got most of those guys on there. Tucker Carlson. What's the other guy's name?
Yeah.
Sean
Hannity. These guys are not journalists. They're not governed by any rules. They basically can come on and just spread their opinion, and people don't know that. They're not journalists.
Right?
Correct. Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes started.
And that's why I don't buy the New York Post. I don't mess with
the Post is raggedy too.
Yeah. And then Brad's right. Why they like with the QAnon thing? Like the other thing with this Matt Gaetz thing, right? Like he lies to his whole party, his woman. I was like, he's down with you said earlier, Kelvin, and we was in rehearsal with he's down with this other guy, the black dude that was pinching booty. No, Andrew Gillum. No, that was Sam. Jamie said that. Andrew Gillum. Yeah. Like they all in that weird circle. Like these people are bug. These politician dudes are bug.
But you know what the point is, that means you have to have help to do this, and I've seen that a million times. You have help.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
I believe that Trump is in the blackmail business, right? So you're wondering why these guys just follow Trump and just do whatever he says, because Trump knows what they do.
He knows where the bodies are buried.
He knows where the bodies are buried. That's right, Derek. So the thing is, they're not loyal to him just because.
Right.
They're loyal to him because he has so much on him. I mean, you got to realize Trump was attached to that guy. Was it Ernstein or?
Oh, yeah, the guy that
Jeff.
The one with the island, the dude.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That guy,
Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein has a lot on a lot of powerful people, so they have to stick together to keep this thing quiet. And Trump knows who's dirty, and that's why he gets you to do what he wants you to do. That's why Mike Gates was such a loyal Trumpist. Because Trump knows he's a dirty little boy.
And they're thinking with him, Gates is a hype man. He was he was always getting setting it up for everybody. Like, yo, who does that?
Yeah.
Like, what a bitch, man. Allegedly, but he's still a bitch, real bitch, but allegedly with all the sex trafficking and stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You're gonna wind up back in I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. So I don't want you to be shocked. I'm telling you.
I said alleged.
He said alleged.
Listen, I don't even mess with Facebook. Another subject. Anyway, the Johnson & Johnson. Apparently, the White House knew about the Johnson & Johnson problem a few weeks ago with the vaccine down there. I think it's in Baltimore. It was in Baltimore. In Baltimore. So they I guess they're trying to cover it. This doesn't look too good. You know me, I'm not a big fan of Johnson & Johnson, so I'm staying. But guys, your thoughts on Johnson & Johnson in the White House cover-up?
Well, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Johnson & Johnson. They had a huge lawsuit about freaking talcum powder with the baby powder or whatever.
Yeah, and they fucking up the Jets. What's another?
But Johnson, I think the problem in the factory was they mixed Johnson & Johnson with AstraZeneca, right? That's what happened.
Actually, that's what happened was they mixed. They're not saying that that's what it was. It was what are they calling it? I can't remember the word they used, but it was basically just different ingredients. It wasn't up to spec. Is that what they said? It wasn't officially. It wasn't up to spec, which means it wasn't up to code. It wasn't good enough. Now, whether or not they mixed two together or not, perhaps they did, perhaps they didn't. But they're not going that deep into it. They just said it was not spec. That's what happened.
And they claiming that the bad batch didn't make it out.
And it didn't make it out. That's right. It got instantly recalled.
That's just conveniently we're going to say that. You know?
Right.
Yeah. That's why I still rock with the Flintstone vitamins.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, secondly, we're burying the lead here. I am not shocked that any administration in any time in this country will hide something. I mean, if you have an honest administration or that's completely transparent, I mean, the security wouldn't be great. I mean, that's part of what governments do. Governments are going to make sure that they don't disclose certain things to control the narrative. That's just it. That's why I talked to my friend about watching Scandal back in the day. Anything that you present to the American public, you can spin it in such a way where people let it go. It's the Jedi mind trick. So that's it. So right now, when you're pushing that you want everybody to get vaccinated, the last thing you want is to show that there was a problem with vaccines. And so that's what they're going to try to do. And so it's one of those situations, people sit down, they have meetings already. I'm not saying it's right, but it's real. That's what happens all the time. It's been happening forever, and it will continue to happen as long as you have a government where there's people, there's politics, and the politics are going to be dirty.
And that's why
where money is involved.
Yeah, and Johnson & Johnson run a corporation just like they run the Jets. Anyway, next news.
That's how, brother. It hurt when you said it.
No, but there's a big thing that happened this week with Major League Baseball, one of my favorite sports of all time. Major League Baseball decided to move their All-Star game and their draft from Atlanta due to the controversy over the voting rights of people in Atlanta. So big shout out to Major League Baseball. And respect to Hank Aaron. And Atlanta is a city that loves events. Mm-hmm. They want to have the Super Bowl there. They want to have an All-Star game there. They had the Olympics there. They're trying to get the FIBA 2026, I think it is, the soccer thing going on over there. So they love big events. They love they love strip clubs, and they love wings. They love big stuff. They love big titties. They love big ass. So I'm so glad that Major League Baseball and also in the spirit of Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron probably went to visit probably 10 presidents in his lifetime.
Yeah.
He didn't visit this guy. He said, I have no need to go see Donald Trump.
Yeah.
No need.
Now,
So thanks Frank Aaron, all the work he did in Major League Baseball and racism, and Stacey Abrams' sister down there. And I'm happy for it. I'm seriously happy for it.
All right,
Yeah.
I want to ask you a hypothetical. All right, and this is totally off script. I just got to ask this hypothetical. Okay, so let's just say hypothetically, the U.S. government decided to give one state to us as a people that will be our own country, just one state. All right, would you live there?
One state? As a state, if we could grow produce, yes.
Yes, you can grow produce.
Almost all year round. So we're talking about somewhere in the South.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I would do it. I'd rather be around all of us.
Okay. Rod?
Yeah, I guess I would do it. I mean, Georgia's, and it's only going to be us there.
Right. Our government, our legislation.
Yeah,
one question.
Commerce.
One question. Do we have a side island for natives?
No.
Oh, we got mixed with the natives.
No, but the thing is, we're going to automatically separate. There'll still be a section for everybody.
That's the only reason I have to still keep my passport to America. See, it's funny. Rodney's like, I think I'd do it. I got to admit, I got to get back to you on that. But go ahead, Derek, really quick. What's up, Derek?
Hey, man.
You can keep your same income in your same profession that you have. Whatever you're doing right now, you keep it.
I like the idea of.
I'm going.
I would like to. I would ask that all of y'all brothers go, and I like the idea of the state, but somebody got to stand in the gap back where we at. Somebody got to stand in the gap because that's I don't trust it. I'll be like, that's part of the plan, bro. They're trying to get us all out of there.
So Derek gonna stay in New York just to make sure everything is good.
But you understand, if they got us all in one place, it'd be kind of easy to take us all out.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Somebody got to stand in the gap.
No, but I want to say something. I want to say something about what you said about the Major League Baseball not holding it in Georgia. Like, we applaud it and everything. And then I talked to somebody, and then they didn't really think it was a big deal. And I said, it is a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's
a big deal because you got to understand, just like D just said, they rely on, there you go, D, rub those fingers together. This is about money. And Kelvin, me and you always talk about that. When we get together and we hurt you in your pocket, we're going to send volumes of a message to you.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of people now who relied on that All-Star game, small businesses, big businesses, large businesses, medium businesses, for that All-Star game to be held there. Guess what? That's not coming. That's a lot of money lost. So now those businesses and stuff are going to put a lot of pressure on Kemp, because Kemp passed this law based on a lie.
Yeah.
Based on a lie.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I salute Major League Baseball for hitting them in the pocket.
Yeah, and that's the only way you do it.
Right in the pocket.
Because sacrifice, like politics is always going to be about sacrifice. And they think anytime you get laws stuff move, it's because of money needles. The bus boycotts back in the day is because of money. Anything is always good. Only thing those kind of people, their mentality understand is bloodshed and money loss. Right?
That's it.
If you give them one of the two, they're gonna we gotta listen to them.
We gotta sit down and talk to them. We
gotta chop it up.
Yeah, we gotta chop it up.
So that's the thing.
Hit them in the pocket. It's like, I never forget this. A guy told me when I first came in the police department, he said, you know why people get so angry when you give them a summons? He said, because you're hitting them in the pocket. Right. They gotta pay a summons.
Yeah.
Right. And I learned that from that point on. I said it's the same thing. If Black America got together and we stood together and didn't spend our money certain places, they'll sit down and talk to us.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. No question.
No question. But we just have to get together.
Yeah.
We haven't done that since the 60s, man.
Yeah. I mean, we did it last time I really remember on a global scale that we did it was apartheid. When we started wearing Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Reebok sneakers, we all came together and got together, and that was huge. It was different because I think because we were the last generation that came out of the people that taught us about protest and standing for something. This new generation, they back in the mall wearing Gucci.
Yeah.
So it's like, but
because people don't want to sacrifice. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, sacrifice is everything, man.
But you know what? The funny thing is, to me, I can't understand. You're spending large amount of money on stuff that's not even relevant. It's not important. We're not talking about food and water. We're talking about a designer that you feel you have to buy and wear. I just don't understand it.
My thing with a lot of women that have these $3,000 purses on it, some of y'all don't even have $3,000 in them. But that's another subject.
And then if you sit down and talk to that same person about that $3,000 purse and say, do you realize how much that $3,000 could have made you in the stock market? They look at you like you're crazy. They look at you like you're absolutely crazy.
Well, you know my motto, Rod. If it's on your ass, it's not an asset.
There you go.
So
if you're wearing it, it's not an asset.
Yeah. So speaking of more sports, Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport have been having this argument on social media for like maybe a week or so. And Michael Rappaport exposed, to me, that was a bitch ass move. Because grown men have a conversation, we text and whatever, you don't expose to the world the conversation, right? No. So he exposed the conversation. I guess Kevin Durant said something derogatory about this man's wife, and it went on. And then now Kevin Durant has got fined $50,000 for the stuff he has said to Michael Rappaport. And Michael Rappaport tried to come today and say, I'm sorry, whatever. And we let him into the cookout. That might be our fault a little bit too much. We let him too far into the cookout. You know, I mean, he did some things. He did Higher Learning. He think he did Next Friday, and I think he did a thing for Trial Called Quest. I think he produced Beats to the Rhyme, that documentary. So you guys' thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think that was, but at the same time, I hold Durant more responsible. You know what I mean? You remember you was a kid and your mother leave the oldest person in charge. And like, you know what, you're gonna get it because you was the one that was in charge of everybody. At the end of the day, Kevin Durant, I've never seen a more unhappy multimillionaire. He just cannot help it. He just cannot help it. When we was kids, they used to tell us sticks and stones will break your bones and they never hurt you. Like they did everything they could to let you know, feel so good about yourself that you won't be affected by someone else's depiction of you. Why he feels the need to respond to everybody. You cannot fight on every front. And it makes me think then you are what they say you are if you respond to it. It'd be like right now, you say, Kelvin, you know what? You a giraffe. Why am I going to argue with you over saying something that I already know is not? Why would I do that? And that's the thing. So I don't understand him. Rappaport played him. That's all he did. He played him. It gave, I mean, really, realistically, who talks about Michael Rappaport all the time? Like, it's not really a big issue. You know what I'm saying? And Durant is about to win a championship if he could ever get back on the floor.
Yeah, but you said it best. Like he went at Stephen A. Smith. Like he's went at Shannon Sharp. My issue with Kevin Durant is you only respond to the negative stuff people say. Like when somebody says something good, you don't even say, you don't report, you don't post that. Like why are you so overly sensitive, bro? Like one thing, you can't play in New York City and be that goddamn sensitive.
You can't be a black man in the United States of America and be
That's very true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I'm upset because somebody don't like me. When's the last time in your life you said I'm upset because somebody don't like me?
Yeah.
I like that same person to come and pay these Con Ed bills. That's what I want to talk about. Somebody don't like me.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right about that.
I was watching Shannon Sharp. He was saying he had something to say about Durant. He was, same, but like you mentioned, he said he's got a problem with Michael Rappaport. He's got a problem with Stephen A. Smith. He's got a problem with Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp was like, listen, I got children almost your age. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to, what would I look like going back and forth with you? You know what I mean? That was the proper response from an OG. You know what I mean? From an older guy. Right. But this guy, Durant, like you say, man, he's just entirely too sensitive and, maybe and maybe that's just a symptom of the upbringing right now, as you say. You know what I mean? So I don't know. He's got to get it together though, because New York
and Michael Rappaport, that was a bitch ass move from that.
Oh
like,
yeah,
men don't do. You shouldn't do
right.
that.
But see, here's the thing: the book is out on Durant now. You know what I'm saying? They know how to get. They know how to get at him. They know how to get his hackles up now. You want some free press. You want to make a little buzz. Say something about Durant. He's going to snap off and say something. Yeah,
and he need to not watch it because he should get ready for the games.
Yeah.
He done played one game more than I did this year. So I mean, like, I don't understand it.
Yo, you guys remember Jason Williams, the guy, the basketball player used to play for?
Bro, me and Brad used to hang out his bar.
St. John's University.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw Jason Williams in an interview a long time ago, and he said something that was so profound to me. He said that they asked him in an interview, why are you always laughing? Why are you always smiling? Why are you always so happy? He said, I'm a black man. I'm rich. I'm in the NBA. I'm good looking. What in the world could I be unhappy about?
There you go.
And the thing is, this is the same thing with Kevin Durant. You're rich. You're in the NBA. Okay, he might not be handsome, but bottom line, all the other things he qualifies for. The thing is, he doesn't realize that when people talk about you, that means that's good. That's not always bad. That's good. That means you're relevant.
Yeah.
He's going to put himself in a bad position one day with himself being so freaking sensitive, and somebody's going to bait him into something that he's not going to be able to get himself out of. And just like you say, you keep playing with him, you keep pushing him, he's going to do something stupid. He has nothing that he should ever be upset about that anybody can say about him. Dude, you on top of the world. You got to be kidding me.
Right, but he's still not happy. You know why? Because I don't care.
He's got some. He needs counseling. There's something wrong with him.
All the external things does not change how you feel on the inside. It just doesn't. That's just the bottom line. And there's something inside of that brother that is unsettled.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. And for the sake of our sponsors, I won't say what I think it is, but I'll just say
what we all think it is. What we all think
right. Don't you say it like that, because look at D. D is tempted, boy. He can't help it.
I'm tempted.
D ain't gonna say it. D, don't you say it. Don't you say it,
right
D.
now. D's working hard.
No, I mean,
don't say it.
Kevin Durant might be seen at the Blue Oyster once in a while.
There you go. We just said it.
He couldn't help himself.
I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing.
Rod just gave him the ball and said, "Run the clock out." Now, D.
One thing I want to say before, last thing I was saying on Kevin Durant, I think he must get his hairstyles in Minneapolis. The brother, there's 1,000 barbers in Brooklyn, bro. Get a little fade, man. Get something. Bro. Like,
give me ship one over. Dang.
You got a lot of millions, man. Get a haircut, something.
Yeah.
You know, but on lighter news. It's a cop. He's 91 years old. I think he's in Alabama. I'm not sure. He's in
Arkansas.
Yeah. He's 91 years old cop. Look at him. Still on the job. Still on the job. Is he driving still?
I don't know. I mean, I hate to laugh. But can you imagine him pulling you over, getting out of his car with his walker with the tennis balls on it, and then telling you license and registration?
I'm gonna lose the sponsors.
I know I'm going to hell.
Oh, man. That's
I'm sorry. And I also see him licking his fingers, saying, "I just had a nice fish sandwich." But I'm sorry, and I know because the thing is. Like, okay, God bless him. He's 92 or 91.
90,
doesn't matter.
91.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're going to jail.
I'm pretty sure he's not on the street, but I mean, God bless him. If he loves the job that much, then God bless him. But I'm sorry I had to say that.
Man.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah,
I'm going to jail for that. After the show, they're gonna lock me up.
No, but I gotta say this. They used to say if you stop, you stop living, and it's a blessing to see him keep going. I have to admit, if there's really something going on, that I don't want him to show up first. But I appreciate the fact that the man, he loves that. It's his passion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 91. If you get 91 kicks out of this can, you have really, I mean,
that ain't bad.
You've done well, and that's just what it is, man. I mean, because to me, I would want to retire.
Enjoy life. Yeah,
he's dedicated, and he remind me of old Otis.
Oh, see Brad. You see Brad Coley won.
No, listen. Only thing with that was 91 years old and still working like that. He must have a wife that nag his ass at home. I ain't going home.
Somebody asked me still driving though. Said he's still driving. I don't want to hear that because I'm gonna be real. I'll be real with you. You 91. No. The game has passed you by. I'm sorry.
But the thing is, it's amazing that they let him. To me, it's amazing that they still let him stay on the job because
it's probably one of the towns with 8 people.
Yeah, correct. 8 towns. It's probably nothing going on or whatever. I know in NYPD they force you out at 62.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good. You can enjoy your life. So the Baltimore prosecutor Marilyn Mosby ends drug sex prosecutions as violent crimes plummeted down. It's going down. So she's no more petty crimes in Baltimore. Because she basically trying to break one of the systems. Why so many brothers in Baltimore you get locked up, can't get a job, now you hustle drugs, and now you selling drugs. Now you come a bigger than a misdemeanor offense, some major shit now. So she's getting rid of all that stuff, and now police can do more police work.
Actual work.
Well, yeah. What it does is force the police to focus on the more serious crimes. You know, but the thing is, in COVID, actually, you know, it wasn't reported, but actually a lot of states were doing it. They were trying to keep the arrests down so that the jails wouldn't be infested with COVID. So it makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, the thing is, majority, when you look at most cities, the majority of the arrests are probably for petty crimes.
Well, maybe that's the silver lining too that came out of it too. The fact that with COVID, you know, the fact that they did have to keep those roles down, and maybe it sparked something. Said, hey, you know, maybe we do need to reevaluate what we've been doing. You know.
Yeah. The thing is too, like, crime is going to be down in every city in the United States due to the fact of COVID. Nobody was out. People wasn't traveling because, you know, if in order for crimes to happen, people have to have victims. So victims weren't moving around to be victims of crimes.
Oh yeah.
So that crime's going to be down everywhere.
Only thing COVID happened when it started getting it was the shootings were going on crazy.
Yeah.
That was wild. It was getting really crazy in New York, especially in New York. Like I had one of my detective friends, worked at the 8-5. He kept sending me texts like all these crimes were going on with these young people that know some of the young people. So if I say something, it was crazy, man. That part only thing I didn't like was, and maybe it's in New York. I don't know about other states, but maybe in Brooklyn it was off the chain.
But it's still, there's still a need though, and so as a result, people want to look and find victims. I mean, it's got to be something.
Yeah.
I mean, and then some people, they just can't help it. Some people are just wherever they at, you know. And like I told y'all before, I had a cousin that been in jail since it started, and that's just how it is. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm trying to tell you, dead serious. I mean, he was still.
Let there be jail.
If he was out, he was still COVID. You went out there after he tried COVID and robbed COVID. That's just how it is. You just can't help it.
That was funny, man. That was funny. That crying.
That's just what it is out here, you know. But yeah, the gunplay is just like, you know, it's really
listen. One thing about Baltimore crime going down, I mean, robbed properties going up more in Baltimore.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's right.
All you Baltimore heads, gentrification is going to come to y'all very hard.
All new way.
So get ready. Hold on your boots. Hold on to your crab cakes and all that stuff.
You better get ready for Whole Foods, right?
That's right.
Whole Foods. White women wearing shorts and thong slippers and little dogs. That's
right. That's little dogs.
And a bike lane in your neighborhood. Coming soon.
It's coming
to Baltimore. So our brother Deshaun Watson is not looking good for him, man. He had up to 20 something people now testifying. I mean, writing statements against him. Well, not statements or complaints or whatever it is, lawsuits. And then he had. It looks crazy to me because then he had like another 20 so people saying, "Oh yeah, Deshaun was a great person when he gave him massages." I'm like, damn, brother, you have 40 fucking massages by 40 different people. Yeah. That is something to milk ain't clean with that, man.
Yeah.
Let me just say this: Deshaun Watson did something to me too. I'm in on this class action suit. I'm sorry, the man did something to me. Now y'all gonna give me mine. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna be the last one. Nah, everybody. Now I was trying to defend the brother for selfish reasons. One of them was because I thought they was trying to play him. The other thing was I'm a Jets fan. I thought we had a chance to get him. Now, no. At the end of the day, I have to realize I changed. Because there's some women that are not even in on the suit that said he's just inappropriate across the line. And there's something, you know, this what I don't understand. Why is it so hard just to be rich and act like you got some sense?
Yeah, it's hard for some people.
Why is it you get this money and you just don't, you know what I'm saying? Like Deshaun Watson got enough money, if he is guilty, and I don't know if he is, but if he is guilty, to pay 100 women to act like they masseuses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can role play like they masseuses. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. You know what I mean?
It's funny, Kelvin.
It makes no sense. And I have to tell you, when they talk about this smoke, this fire, this is an inferno every other week. Every other week. And then he's not coming out saying anything. Let me tell you something. They had this thing where it's like, oh, your lawyer tell you not to speak. If you accuse me of something I did not do, and my lawyer works for me, I will come out and do a press conference and tell you I didn't do it. And however you want to use that against me, use it. But I didn't do it. Yep. That's it. And they're saying he's going to have to settle. And not only is he going to have to settle, he better hope he can stay in Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully he has a job at the end of the day. But something ain't the milk ain't clean with that, brother. I mean, God damn, I was riding phones like, yo, the white man trying to get him. Like, yo, but like now, like, bro, you have 20 people on your side to say you did okay. It's a lot. And he was like just finding people on Instagram. Like, who Who wants that many strangers' hands on him?
Yeah. Not for NFL quarterback.
That's what he's into. That's what he's into.
Yeah, yeah, whatever floats your boat, bro. Whatever floats your boat. On upcoming news, I think it's tomorrow. I think it is versus Isley Brothers versus Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's
Looking
the one,
forward to
baby.
it.
That's
Looking
the one.
forward to it. Looking forward to
That's
it.
grown folks versus
Grown,
right there,
grown
bro.
Yeah.
folks music.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna have my gators on. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have everything. I'm gonna have the incense burning, all that shit. I'm having them.
Yeah, I already started hanging velvet posters in my house already. I'm ready for it. I'm already ready. I'm putting the beads in the walkway. Remember the beads in the walkway? I'm putting up the wooden spoon and the wooden fork. I'm putting all that up. I'm putting the nuts on the coffee table. I'm putting all that stuff.
So I'm putting up the white Jesus, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy picture.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Elvin American flag there somewhere. Dr. King. Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
We're gonna take it. We're gonna take it back. I think I might bring out my cape. Put my cape on. You know
Have
what
your
I'm saying?
theme music playing. But
There you go.
Who's the winner? It's got to be who you got.
Man,
I'm gonna say Ozzy. I'm going with the Ozzy Brothers.
Ozzy Brothers got some joints. Earth, Wind, and Fire got some fire though. They got some fire.
Yeah, they do.
Do you understand how deep the catalog is for the Osleys, though, bro?
Yeah, deep.
All the way down to Twist and Shout, man. Come on, bro. That's the Osley Brothers.
Yeah, listen, I know.
Damn.
Everybody out there, please watch it. Bring them numbers up. Do not have it.
Yeah.
One of these dudes that got a half a record out and have a longer, more viewership than that. These are, historic figures.
Yo, Steve Harvey's hosting it, right?
45 years.
Yeah, Steve Harvey is hosting it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be and that's gonna be fire too. I think he's gonna do well. He's gonna bring something to the table as well. You know how he is. He's just kind of gonna amp it a little bit as a host too, I believe. So Reason's best song ever. I'll go with that too. There's so many songs, man.
And on the business side of things, I think Peloton has picked up verses and stuff like that too. So Swiss Beats and Timbaland's going to make a lot of money on this, and it's kind of good. I think have those like the young people could work out to this music, understand what this music, understand where some of your beats came from. Some of your samples and stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good for business for them. I got hats off to those brothers on that. I mean, shrewd business decision on that.
I think Versus is just touching the iceberg of where it's going to go. I think it's going to be gigantic. I really do.
So. I think you might start seeing with these arenas some people there and some people just watching on their thing and paying for it.
Y'all know exactly what. I see what y'all trying to do. You're trying to revisit that old argument. Of course, it's gonna be big now. That's why they came and bought it. All right, I'm not gonna let.
We gonna. That's a good one, but we got to pay some of the bills. So, Jamie, can you bring us to commercial, brother?
Damn.
Oh, welcome back. Thanks for sponsors. They didn't get rid of us because of my big ass mouth or Rodney's big ass mouth last
Oh wow.
We in this together, Rod. We in this together.
Yeah, D, we've been down a long time. We got to go out together.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
That's it, man. We're going out blazing. But no, and later this year, and a few things going on. It's like the brother did this horrible thing at the Capitol. A lot of talk about mental health, and so we thought about this year, like, well, all the things going on. I think it's a good time for us to discuss a taboo kind of topic for Black people. So today we have one of my dear friends. I mean, she knew me a long, long time ago, back in the dirt. So, Sammy, Jamie, can you bring on my friend, my dear good friend, Serene? We're gonna talk about this mental health thing today.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey. What up, Serene? What up, Serene?
Hey, Dee.
I know it. Yeah, Serene calls me Dee Dee, so it's cool, everybody. My nickname is Dee Dee. Now, no, you can call me Dee Dee. Most people that watch this know me as Dee Dee. No. Serene, if you ever call me Damon, I'll be pissed. You call me Dee Dee because we go way back.
I've never called you Damon in my life.
No, Janice is the only one in the Black that always call me Damon. She's crazy, but that's another thing. So, Serene, I want you to give the background because I can spill it, but I want you to make sure everyone knows what you do and your name, your business, all that kind of stuff like that.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Serene Prince again. I'm the owner of Orchard Blue Counseling Services based in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Orchard Blue Counseling was birthed fully, I should say, during the pandemic. But before that, I worked full-time as a program director at a child welfare agency, specialized in children with medical complexities. And I started Orchard Blue Counseling probably around November 2019. I was trying it out, making sure this is really where I want my passion to explode at, so to speak. Then the following year was the pandemic. And then there was just an enormous amount of Black and brown people seeking therapy, believe it or not. Probably around May or June, when everyone really noticed that this was for real. And so I enjoyed it despite the amount of, mental health concerns that people were facing. I knew that this is where my passion needed to go. So I resigned from my full-time job and I went full-time around July of 2020. And I've been enjoying it ever since. My specialty is children's, followed by young adults and adults between the ages of 30, 55, as well as couples. My practice is designed to offer culturally competent, holistic psychotherapy and making accessible mental health to Black and brown people in the community of Queens, New York, and also expanding to Antigua and Barbuda, where my family is from.
I love Antigua. It's one of my favorite places to vacation.
Beautiful place.
So Serene. So one of the things I want to first of all, I'm probably gonna work back and go all over the place with this. How should people deal with right now? I'm just dealing with what the expectations of this case is coming up in Minnesota, right? So I know we saw the riot, we saw how people was frustrated. I think the frustration of being inside and just the overwhelming of over sensory stuff. Like, how should people deal with if it goes the way we all think, we're hoping that it doesn't go, rather? How would you tell young people, first of all, too?
I think it goes for everyone, actually, but young people, whether it goes the way that you want or not, you should do the same thing that I'm offering you. And that's to pause. Pause from social media, pause from the news. Connect with your partner, your friends, your family, adults. Connect with your adult child and express your thoughts, your emotions, and what you want to do. A lot of times, these things can really be a barrier to your purpose, right? When you think about our ancestors and the people before us who endured this was like unfortunately, an everyday thing for them. And they were resilient. And from that came a lot of things that we benefited from. And now that we are multi-generation, I say that because you're the generation X, Y, Z, and we're all living this. And it has been more evident to us that we need to demand change, that we're not asking anymore. And if we're going to demand change, are we going to be the change? So when the, whatever it is, a conviction or not, what is it that you want to do? And so it's time to pause and think about what your purpose is, right? So instead of shopping, drinking alcohol, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but what I'm saying is that you want a clear mind and that you want your behavior to be something that's going to be progressive, that you want to do something that's not going to take away. So instead of pouring that nice glass of brown juice, replace that with something that's going to replenish you. Instead of shopping and taking away money from you, how are you going to get money back, right? And then there's also about, what are your goals? Start doing that now. Don't wait for the conviction. Start doing that now. What are your goals? Write it down, plan, execute. Also, what is your talent? How can you give back to your community? It doesn't have to be just necessarily in donations. It can be in, I saw you guys, Dee Dee, y'all were, donating food and giving it away and just serving your purpose other than your 9 to 5, right? So it can be in your time, your talent, whether it's a contribution or resources. And really also just really connecting with one another and taking care of each other. That's what our response should be. We don't want this to be where we remain in this sense of despair. And I get it. I'm not trying to devalue the feelings and the thoughts that we have in reaction to what we believe the outcome will be. But I just want us to stay focused and take care of ourselves because there's still work to do.
I think first of all, I appreciate you saying that. I was thinking about when you mentioned social media, what impact or adverse impact has it had on generations, especially the present generation at large? Have you seen a tremendous, deleterious effect from social media across the board?
It's a bittersweet thing, right? Is where everything happens and then at a low cost if you're someone that's selling a business and things like that. But as I work with children, it is the way that they are socializing. That's their means of socialization. Like Dee Dee and I were talking about that we were from the happy block in Queens, and we had the opportunity, despite what was going on, and everyone had something going on in their household. But when we came outside, it was a connection. We were, different ages, but we connected, and we really felt and really truly felt some sense of joy. And we knew how to connect with one another. We all came from different backgrounds, different family dynamics. And so the children out there and the youth out there, they're connecting on social media. So they're being impulsive. As soon as they think something, they're putting it out there. You can't take it back. And then how do you have that natural exchange with someone on social media? Is very hard because that person moves, they go on to the next thing. And then you guys are having this fragmented communication. And that's, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, go ahead, Rodney.
No, I was going to say that I remember when I used to work in the schools, and some of the counselors always used to be the first answer to everybody that had some sort of, or they believed to have some sort of mental illness. They would always feel that the kid needs medication, right? What is your views on medication for mental illness?
So as a psychotherapist, that is not my initial go-to.
Okay.
I have a respect for it. And I do believe that it serves a purpose. But that's not my initial go-to. I'm doing an assessment with the child, and I'm assessing to see what are their strengths, right? I'm building relationships with them. If they are not in imminent danger, meaning that they're not at risk for harming themselves or harming someone else, then I wouldn't just jump to medication. And but I have a respect. I don't want anyone to think I'm dispelling that, oh no, that medication is no good. But I don't think that's something that we're immediately going to go to help someone change their behavior. Because guess what? Medication is not the sole remedy, right? What it does is supposed to do is to slow down your thoughts and your behavior so that you can engage in therapy and that you can be open to developing tools to help you manage your emotions, to be aware of what's going on with you, and to help you with managing those behaviors. And so you may see some children or adults that are on medication and they're still having difficulty managing their emotions because maybe they're having gained access to competent and comprehensive mental health. And that's where you need to step in. The psychotherapist and the psychiatrist, what really works for them is that they connect, that they're communicating with one another. And so that they should not be these separate providers who providing service to the same person or the same child. They should be connecting. The therapist is telling the psychiatrist how this child is behaving, how they're responding, what side effects that they may be having from the medication. Or maybe they believe that medication is no longer needed and that they're thriving very well and that they've gained really good use of those tools. But yeah.
No, I'm just no. Continue. I was wondering, like, you know, I had a question about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
What are the stresses that you're finding right now that are affecting what you do as a result of COVID right now? What are you hearing? What kind of stress are you hearing from people? What kind of input are you hearing regarding that?
Well, a lot of people are having anxiety. A lot of people are dealing with some mental health that they hadn't dealt with before COVID, pre-COVID. So a lot of us are home alone, are home with our families. We're indoors more, and we are more aware of our anxieties and our sadness and starting to ruminate, start to think about the past and how it's been impacting us. It's also impacting those that their jobs have changed immensely, working from home, not being able to transition from home into work. It's been very stressful for a lot of people. And then parents, I tip my hat off to them who have children that are school remote. You know, they're doing school remotely. That's very hard, right? So you're parenting 24 hours, 7 days a week. And you're playing teacher at the same time, and you're playing guidance counselor and the lunch person while you're trying to hold it together. And so people are really overwhelmed and having to deal with this. And, you know, when speaking about Black and our Latino, you know, brothers and sisters, more so, especially if you were not someone who considered therapy, right? If therapy was not spoken about in your household, and now you're so overwhelmed with all these emotions, you really don't know what to do with it, right? And then you're coming to a therapist and you really want to just fix it all very quickly. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes day by day. But COVID, for the most part, has really been anxiety and depression is what people have been impacted by.
Serene, like mental health was always taboo to Black people. I like always build my things. I always see things in Black first. So Black people was a taboo. What has changed that more Black people are starting to get open to? What do you see in your practice? What have you seen to change?
They notice that they are not doing well. That's usually what they say to me. I'm not doing well. I can't sleep. The usual symptoms are difficulty sleeping. They're not responding to marijuana the way that they used to. They're starting to feel like they're having paranoia when they're smoking marijuana, and that they're trying to quit or that they've had to decrease it. And so that tells them something has changed about me and I don't know what to do. They're having a lot of headaches, stomach aches, vertigo. And those are usually the 5 main symptoms that people complain about. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, and this is a debate that my nieces have had. And my niece, one of them is following in your path, and she has this tremendous desire to help people. And we've had this debate. So my nieces feel that this era is more open and expressive about mental health issues and things like that. I thought my era was a lot tougher, that we would, because I look at this era like they try to eliminate the problem. I was raised to accept the problem and just deal with the problem. Wasn't to bury it, but so this was my issue. So I would say to them that, you know, all the bullying and stuff that we had to deal with, we had to learn how to deal with it, but you didn't see us shooting up schools and stuff. You didn't see us, all the things that you see now, it seems like we've done everything we can. You can't call people names anymore. We're very sensitive to shaming and all the different things. So I don't know that in the midst of that we've gotten better. I understand the concept. So when I grew up, or when you grew up, or when we grew up, we had to deal with it. There were some bullies. That was part of life. There was some, you know, some people that didn't know how to act. But now it seems like you try to eliminate everything that gives you discomfort. So where do we? Is it somewhere in the middle, or am I just the old guy just trying to be a prisoner of that time?
But you know what? I hear on both ends, right? When you had asked the question about social media, man, I'm sure you guys have gotten negative responses, and it comes so fast and so hard, and that's what they're dealing with. When we were younger, we didn't have negativity all the time at us 12, 24 hours a day because we went to school, we came home, and then it stopped.
Right.
And no one was calling your house trying to say nothing because your big cousin or your mama, your dad, they answered the phone.
Right.
So there was a barrier to that. But for them, they're on Snapchat, whatever chat, and the negativity and the bullying is happening right there. It's constant. And so they're getting it in a more intense way.
Right.
You could do a whole segment on parenting, right? And our generation and how we're parenting is different than the way that our parents parented us.
That's the truth.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So when we say that they are responding or they're this and that way, we probably should be looking at ourselves, right? So when a parent says to me, I need them to not be on the phone or whatever and do something else, I ask them, well, what have you given them to do? What have you given them to do that is within their age range? I actually had to have a parent. I'm like, are they getting an hour of TV? And so a lot of parents are like, I don't want them to watch TV. Well, what are they doing? It's a pandemic. Like, if you take something away, then you want to replace it. And you want to replace it with something that's positive, not just remove it altogether. And then they're sitting next to you while you're doing adult things.
Well, I have to commend you. I know somebody else is going to ask you a question. I have to commend you. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not even allowed to tell you why I commend you. But I know where you practice at, and I want to commend you. That's all I want to say. I'm not saying nothing negative. I'm just saying I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to elaborate. I just want to say I commend you. I'm
you gotta tell me later.
She's trying to help the natives, man. Brad, Tammy, can you bring up what Brad just said real quick? And now I want to touch on something. I think Brad just wrote something that regulate social media time shape behavior. Yeah. I mean, this generation is responsive. Like Brad said, like the likes is really driving these kids crazy. Like I work with a lot of young people for going on 22 years now, and the likes and the stuff that come, they be having fights over this Facebook beefs and all this stuff. My thing is, and I said Cameron probably should have gave. Cameron, the rapper, gave some best advice. He said, I blocked over 200,000 people. You just block them. And so you don't have to deal with it as much. Like, just let them go, So things are heavy. What we do, you got to let them go.
My kids were growing up, I wouldn't let them have social media, D. You know what I mean? My oldest son, he would not have social media. I wouldn't allow him to have a Facebook page. My youngest ones are coming up. I won't allow them to have it because I didn't want people to have access to them that way. Because you started hearing so much about bullying and everything that was going on, like you say, man. I just didn't want that for them.
But we played the dozens.
Yeah. But even that is a social thing, though. You know what I mean? Like the kids don't even get out right now, man.
I know.
What I mean? Yeah, just sit in the house in their own heads.
I want to look at it from the other side.
Sure.
Do you think a person needs counseling when people talk about them? Because I like when people talk about me. Whether it's negative or positive, I like when they talk about me. So does that mean I need counseling?
Well, I don't, when someone, as an adult, right, we talk about what behavior impacts your functioning. If your behavior does not impact your function or impact anyone else in a negative way, why change it? If that's your personality, I respect characteristics. Right.
Because I like when the haters say stuff about me because it motivates me.
And if that doesn't impact your functioning, and you know what, so you're an adult, I know some teens that feel the same way.
Yeah, I love it.
In that fashion. Yeah.
So then I'm okay. I don't need counseling. I'm good.
Though.
I think she go offer counseling to everybody on this show. I think.
We need some. But I do want to ask one more question though.
Yes.
And it's on a different note though. When would you recommend? Because you said you do couples counseling, correct?
I do.
Couples counseling.
Mm-hmm.
When would you recommend that a couple seek counseling? Like at what stage in their relationship when they start to see there's problems or issues there? What signs would they kind of recognize in order to say that we need to seek some sort of counseling or some professional advice?
It varies couple to couple. I don't cookie cutter anyone.
Okay.
But generally it would be when one or both persons are feeling that things have changed or that they want things to change and communicate it, right? So when a couple comes to me, they're usually at a point where one person is at a brink of breaking up, so to speak, or they're letting the person know how intense that emotion has become.
Okay.
And it's all about communication. So, I can say, all right, so when you start to have a sense that, or when you start to see one person is changing and one isn't, that's usually a sign that this relationship is going down, right? So if you've been with someone for 30 years and you're starting to change whatever direction that is in, and the other person is still thinking the same way, there's usually a disconnect that happens.
Wouldn't you also worry about people growing apart? Like if two people are growing, you know what I mean? Like if I know obviously if you're staying the same and someone else is changing, then you're growing apart. But isn't there also a danger that you're moving, you're not necessarily changing in the same direction though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you are growing apart, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Change your mind.
Yeah.
But
I kind of noticed the growth apart thing with like younger couples compared to older couples. Is that true, or that have you ever seen that before? Like younger couples kind of like they haven't grown up fully yet, so there's a chance of them growing apart because each member of the relationship may find different interests that doesn't interest the other mate or whatever. Does that make sense to you?
no, it does. If a younger couple is coming in for couples counseling, versus an older couple, the older couple may have decided, at our age, you probably like, look, going out there to find somebody else, I really don't want to do that. I want to work it out. No, let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
A younger couple could have been, if you think about yourself and you're married for a number of years, and let's think back 15, 20 years ago, you and your spouse or you and your girlfriend had decided you were going to go to couples counseling. It will look different from that period until now. It wouldn't be the same. So I wouldn't say that there's a difference in terms of age. It's a difference in terms of the stage of the relationship.
Got you. I understand.
Right? Yeah.
To me, being old, I don't know who could deal with my farts and stuff like that. So but no, real quick, I got a question. Like, so what should Black people seeking like a therapist like yourself? What should they be looking for and stuff? Like, what is a couple or individual? What was some of the questions of how would they find a therapist? What's the certain steps you think?
So it's no secret. It is hard to find a Black therapist. It is hard. It's harder now because more Black people are looking for therapists, believe it or not. I always tell them, at least find 3 therapists. Let your insurance company help you find them. Is in your plan. People don't know that they can call their insurance company and say, I'm looking for this therapist, X, Y, and Z, and that I want them to do in-person or telehealth, or be from this community, be of this background, race, gender, sexual identity. And I do focus on finding 3 therapists. Write down your questions, write down at least 3 questions that are important to you in order to connect with a therapist. Also, if you cannot afford a therapist for whatever reason, consider a few grants. There are grants out there. If you think that there's something that exists, it probably does. It just hasn't been made known to your community. And there are tons of grants out there that have initiatives to increase access to mental health for Black, Indigenous people of color.
What are the signs of that children may need therapy? You know what I mean? So, like, let's say you're going through something, you're watching your child, you're seeing different changes. What are some of the main changes that you're seeing just in maybe in the last year, maybe due to COVID or maybe not, that are pushing people towards getting therapy for their children?
Seeing that they're regressing in their development is one. Two, that there's a shift in their behavior, or that their moods are shifting very quickly. Some people are like, well, I have a teenager, they do that all the time. But you, as a parent, I call them like the parent expert, you know when something is going on with your child. You know when there's something unusual with them. Because usually, you know, when they're, you know, teenagers, when they don't feel like being bothered. You know when I don't feel like being bothered versus when I don't feel good about myself. And you know that about your child. It's a matter of whether or not you want to address it early on, right? And then you also notice a shift in their sleep, right? They may be sleeping more or just sleeping less. There's a change in their grades. They have like this burst of euphoria all of a sudden, like they're excessively happy and just spinning around and having this burst of energy that comes out of nowhere. And so those usually are some of the signs where you're noticing it, aside from also trying out vaping and drugs and testing out things like that. Self-cutting, you may start to notice that there's a little bruise on them, on their legs and the thighs. That's usually where they do it. Sometimes they'll test it out without breaking the skin. So you may see like repetitive movements where you may see them taking a piece of paper, and you may see them keep, you know, like doing this, but they're not breaking the skin. But you just see the repetitive behavior. That's usually a sign of depression.
Yeah, and the thing I want to make sure, like, people got to start saying that it's a white thing. I worked in schools. I've dealt with several black kids that do cutting and stuff like that themselves.
Yeah.
You're speaking up is the absolute truth. I witnessed this for years going on. And some of the things we thought were taboo, don't commit suicide, all that kind of stuff is not taboo. We're not immune from this in our community. This is really happening because you think, like you said before, Kelvin said it best. Like, we grew up black. How can you be sensitive? We face so much stuff from the time we landed on this earth.
Right.
So it's like, so watch out for those signs. Serena's speaking absolute truth right now.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It happens a lot in our black community.
A lot.
I mean, more than you can imagine.
Yes, I worked at elementary school to high school and I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're seeing kids in therapy in elementary school, from elementary school?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you know this to help the question out? How do you know if your insurance covers therapy?
You generally call your insurance company and ask them if they cover psychotherapy. Is what you ask. Yeah.
So use the term psychotherapy when you're talking to your
or behavioral health. Generally, if you say mental health, they'll know, and then you want to know the number of sessions that they cover. Since the pandemic, most insurances are covering unlimited number of sessions.
Okay.
They haven't really been capping anymore. Some do, but most of them have not.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to pay like a co-payment or something too, right?
Yeah. So sometimes there are co-pays depending on, you know, your plan. Some people are paying co-pays of $20, some $60. Some have huge deductibles of $5,000 in a year.
Wow.
They're unable to afford it. But there are different websites. I wish I can post it now. You know, you have the Loveland Foundation that offers grants. You have openpathcollective.com that offers low cost mental health, and it varies from $30 to $60. And so a therapist may offer it to you for 12 sessions or up to 6 sessions. And it's also about, you know, what you're willing to invest in. You know, we're not going anywhere really. I mean, so if you're saving some dollars, you may want to consider investing in therapy for yourself. And then if you have a copay, ask your insurance if they have EAP. EAP is free coverage, right? And so some therapists like myself, we may accept EAP for a number of sessions, and then you can go into paying through your insurance and just kind of testing out, feeling it out. There's a lot of different ways to go about getting mental health when you can.
Yeah, and like my man Brad and I both, we recommend therapy. Like, I went through that whole COVID thing. I was sick, and I started going to therapists myself to see it. Like, it's like you get a different perspective on things, a different outlook. Sometimes, like a person like me, I always think I have a lot of answers. But even though I counsel people, I need a counsel. I know a lot, you know. So it was different but it felt good. And then sometimes to spin your mind with somebody else, I recommend it to anybody. I'm an open book about it, and that's why I brought my sister on today.
I like that someone just said that it's really not that much different than going to the medical doctor with your insurance. And I was going to bring that up. We will go, and thank God, yes, Black people, we're going to the doctor. That's great. But your mind is also something that you need to treat too, right? Because your brain, when you think about it, it is what manages all your organs. Right? And so a lot of times people may complain about stomach issues, bowel, either they're having too many bowel movements or not enough. They're having these headaches. They're going to the doctor. No one can figure it out because probably emotionally you could use some therapy and really address that and get some tools. The thing is, who's the medicine? Like I tell my clients, you're the medicine. I'm just helping you. I'm helping you guide it, but you are your own healer, right? You're with yourself 24 hours, 7 days a week. You're just with me for 45 minutes, 60 minutes a week. So, you start to know what your triggers are, but here is where, hopefully you trust me and you start to really talk freely about the things that bother you without any judgment. I just want to, and I know that we're short for time, but also the taboo with mental health is still surrounding child welfare. One of the days of BCW, at least with me and a lot of other Black and brown clinicians, so, some people may think they're in abusive relationships and someone's going to call 911 and I don't want to overgeneralize it, but I just want to say that as long as there's not imminent danger of you or someone else, that we're really doing our assessment because we understand that can cause more harm than good. And I want to dispel this idea that, your child's going to be taken away from you and things like that. And we're here to help you, right? Not to say that would never, ever be the case. But what I'm saying is that just like medication, that's just not our go-to unless we see the signs and that is very clear that you are in danger. But we're very careful of that.
You're right, and I have contracts with ACS. I work closely with them. They're trying to change the perspective of taking people out the home, so they will suggest someone like yourself to go into the family and start helping out. Look, Miko saying, can you pull up what Miko just said real quick about healing? That is the absolute truth. That like what you said, Serene. We all are our greatest healers of ourselves. I tell people that all the time. When white people try to confront us, try to come in and try to tell us what to do, I say, listen, people know how to heal themselves. They just need a little bit of help. That's all that they need. A little bit of guidance with that. Quick question. How I went to therapy or tried to do counsel therapy with my ex before. If one person is for therapy and one person against, how does that work? What have you seen? What can you do? Because that happened. That happened to me personally. So I just want to know, what are your thoughts on it?
Were you the one that didn't want to know? So it depends. My style is different from some other therapists. I keep it 100. I wasn't born a therapist. So if someone is there, if a couple is there, and one person is not there, I will ask them, what are you here for? Are you here to change, or are you just here to appease this person and take up the time? Because I'm really not a therapist about you being there and like I want the money. Yeah, the money's great, but my ethics and my morals trump that. And so if you're not here to change, then what are you here for? And I call them out. You're not doing the work. You're not doing the work.
Is a therapist supposed to see couples and then determine that maybe they shouldn't be together? You ever seen situations like that?
I never determined that.
Okay, good.
That's up to the couples to determine.
It's up to the couples,
determine that they don't want. But what my thing is that you have, at some point, you want to accept that the other person's not going to change.
Correct.
The only thing that can change is you.
Yes. The reason I asked you that question is because I heard a therapist say that if they and I thought it was inappropriate for them to make a decision like that for a couple. But I just wanted to ask you that.
Let me ask one question. And first of all, I apologize for going out earlier. Apparently, Spectrum wants their money monthly. I'm always concerned. I have this theory, and I always say that the chef always starves. The people that serve everybody else never eat themselves. For people that may want to follow in your footsteps, or people that want to go into this field, what do you do to decompress? How do you detach yourself from it? I would assume you hear a lot and see a lot of things that will stay with you, but how do you balance that?
I take time off. I've learned from the past of burnout. I take time off for myself. Last year, when we had the unfortunate, it was Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, we had a whole name.
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of them.
God.
And I let my clients know. I send an email, and I would say, due to the nation's unrest and what's happening, I need to take time off, and I hope you take time off too. And that I allow myself to heal and allow myself to process so that I can be available to other people. I don't want to be this empty vessel or this distressed vessel that is supposed to offer you space of healing when I'm distracted or I'm distressed. Nope.
Excellent.
What does it mean when you feel numb, though? You know what I mean? Because we've gone through so much of this in the last year that I'm just going to be honest. I'm starting to I'm not even starting. I'm feeling numb, you know? And I'm just like, okay, so, and next week, the next shoe will be, you know, and that's it, you know, and it just seems like it's just rinse and repeat. What do you do to decompress? Or is that something that's healthy for you mentally? Or what do you do about that? You know?
Well, when you're feeling numb, right, you're desensitized, and I understand that. But then is that the way you want to be?
No, it's not.
Right.
I want to feel something, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so there are different methods, right? So you're probably like, oh, she's crazy. So there's a thing called tapping, right? And you're tapping into your central nervous system. And it's called emotional freedom technique. And it's called the tapping solution. And there's an app. I implore everyone to give it a try. It's a 7-day free trial because I'm all about the free. And so there's a 7-day free trial, right? And it's nothing new. It's just that someone coined it and called it tapping emotional freedom. But our ancestors have been doing it for a long time.
Okay.
My Caribbean and African people, and even people from the South, you know, your grandmother probably used to always, when something hurt, your stomach hurt, your foot hurt, they would put a rag on your head. And, you know, we used to call this thing called alcalado and things like that. That's because they knew that the head is what helped everything else. And that's our central nervous system, right? So even when you're feeling desensitized, you need to tap in. You need to tap into yourself and find out what is that thought and that emotion that is numbing you. And you need to replace it with something else so that you can reattach to the world, to your life.
Yep. My therapist told me the same thing about tapping. She's
because you can numb yourself, and I totally get it. I totally get about feeling numb, just feeling this sense of despair and this constant repeat of the same thing over and over and over again. But like I tell myself and I tell my clients, you're here, you are breathing. So what are you going to do?
Somebody asked, what's the name of the app again? They want to make sure you get
the tapping solution.
And you ever heard of like the 530 megahertz, something like that? The megahertz, the waves, or something like that?
I know of another therapist that does the 530 megahertz. I haven't learned that.
Yeah, I practice.
I heard it's very helpful.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Pull the question up about the depression with the children. You see it?
Yeah, she says she came in late. She wants to know the answer.
Slight signs of depression. How should the parents approach the situation? It's hard to just say based on that question because I'm a holistic psychotherapist, so I need to know the whole thing about it. What is the history? What's going on in school? What's going on in the home? What other symptoms the child may be displaying? How old are they? Right? Because the age, it matters, and the approach in that. And so I would definitely have, because I like to be careful about it in saying that it's probably best to get a consult from a psychotherapist because I hate to offer a solution or an answer when I don't know the full picture of the matter. But if you have assessed that your child or this child is depressed, then it's best to request a consultation from a therapist. A lot of us give free 15-minute consultations, such as myself. Even if I'm not able to accept the client, I usually, and some people are like, oh, you're crazy to do that. But I just feel that it's my duty to do that. So if I do a 15-minute consultation and based on what you shared with me, I would try to recommend, different resources and things like that where you can go. I do have a group, by the way, plug in. My group starts next week for children ages 10 to 13. It is virtual right now because I know a lot of children are transitioning back to in-person at school. So it's every Saturday at 11 a.m. I accept most insurances, Emblem Health, Beacon Health, United Healthcare, Oxford, Cigna, HIP, GHI, that I can remember. And it goes from April 10th and it ends 10 weeks from there. And then I also raffle off a $50 gift certificate, provided that the child or the children rather have attended a number of sessions. And it is designed to tap into critical thinking. I do a whole developmental plan with them. And also just to get to them to think about their thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Accountability is very important. When I'm working with children, it's important that, yes, we understand what the family dynamics are, whether your parents are separating, whether they're divorced or school. But what are you going to do? If that's not going to change, you're the one that has to make the change. So how are we going to work together to help you function better day to day? How are we going to help you to start recognizing the goodness in yourself? And I want parents to know that who have teenagers, because a lot of times teenagers, they seem like they don't listen, but they do.
Mm-hmm. They do. They're always tempting.
What's important is that as a therapist, that and even parents, that you remain consistent. And that if you're offering or you're suggesting for them to take away something, it has to be replaced with something. Right? And that the parents are involved in therapy. That's really important. The parent is the expert. I'm an expert in mental health. I'm not an expert in parenting your child.
Mm-hmm. So Serene, take a time. Where can people find you at? On your Instagram? How can they tap into your website? Phone numbers? Anything you can have to get to the people?
Phone number, area code 516-200-1174. You can reach me email info@orchardbluecounselingservices.com. Instagram, orchardbluecounseling_. orchardblue_counseling SVCS. And you can catch me on Facebook, orchardbluecounselingservices.com. I cannot see the name. I think it's Kelvin. What is his name?
Kelvin.
Calvin.
Sorry. I don't have my reading glasses.
No, it's Kelvin. Go ahead.
I also do clinical supervision. So for persons out there, we need licensed clinical social workers. When you get clinical supervision, you earn your hours to take your clinical license. So I offer that. Or persons that just want clinical supervision, that work with children and adults, children and families. So if you have your master's in social work, licensed master social worker, I do offer clinical supervision for you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Serene, we I love you, sister. Thank you for coming on. Happy Block for Life. I saw Siobhan. We saw Brad. And those Happy Block originals right there. I love you, my sister. Thank you so much. And I'll hit you on the cell a little later on. All right?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Take care.
Peace. Man.
Hey.
Yeah, Derik, you getting your shine, baby. I like that. Yo, I'm so happy that I don't need counseling.
No, listen.
that's what you took out of the whole situation,
right?
Right?
I'm like,
you don't need counseling.
I don't need counseling.
Man, I remember what Robin Harris said. He said, I married the wrong goddamn woman. That was me.
That's why I wear my ring. That's why I wear my ring on the wrong goddamn finger.
Yo, man, that was good. But listen, seriously, on that was excellent. I just want to like black people really get into this mental health things. Really try to seek therapy. We don't have our own answers. Sometimes we do. Sometimes need to have reach out for help. So, and that's my sister right there. I love her to death. If you need to get in touch with her, find me. You know, I'm on Instagram. That's my Instagram. Hit me up or whatever, and I'll plug you into Serene. Real quick, now speaking of, we talking about young kids and stuff like that, and some of the mental health things they got to deal with, because of some of these teachers out here sometimes bring on these stresses to the family and to these kids. So there was a teacher, a racist 6th grade teacher that got busted on film. Busted on a Zoom. And Jamie, just play the video so people can see what I'm about to talk about.
Next tonight to the shocking and at times racist comments made by a teacher over Zoom. That teacher thought she'd hung up with the student and his mother, but the call was recorded. Here's ABC's Zareen Shah.
Tonight, a Southern California community outraged after a 6th grade teacher's racist outburst.
I mean, these parents, that's what kind of piece of they're black. He's black.
A Palmdale teacher had just finished a Zoom call with a mom about her child back in January when it appears the teacher did not properly end the call and proceeded to sound off to a colleague about the mom.
Your son has learned to lie to everybody and make excuses because you taught him to make excuses that nothing is his fault. This is what black people do. This is what black people do.
The mother recording the incident, the teacher later resigning.
My client is a single mother who has 2 children. And like many people, struggled during the pandemic.
The family's lawyer says the boy had been struggling getting a school-provided hotspot to work and fell behind with assignments. The family now filing a claim against the school district. The district says they do not tolerate any kind of racial discrimination, and the school says they reached out to the family for counseling.
Oh,
yeah. You know what? The toughest thing, I got kids, when the COVID thing hit, and we had to change over to remote learning and everything. And I'm like a lot of everybody, other people, obviously, we all know that it was really tough, especially in the beginning, to kind of make the adjustment, and we didn't know what was going on and how to do it and none of that stuff. So the thing that stuck with me the most was, what about the kids who don't necessarily have broadband? What about the kids that don't, who don't have steady available internet service, or just have a chaotic home environment? A lot of times when this, D, a lot of times they go into school and that's their safe haven. That's their area where they can kind of be cool, So I'm not saying that her child had anything like that going on at home, but, as a teacher, I would think that she would be a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more aware of those kind of situations,
Yeah.
So,
exactly. Anybody else?
No, I'm thinking about sensitivity. I think it's just about blatant racism. I mean, the sad thing, what I wanted to hear was the part of the call that preceded that. That's what I wanted to hear. I want to hear that transition from acting as a concerned educator to a person who was just very, very bigoted and, expressing prejudice. You know what I mean? And you can hear the mother gasp when she says it. You can tell the mother was hurt, because I'm sure before this, the woman is understanding. And then as soon as you get off the phone, and I think the good thing about sometimes these live mics and these live discussions when people are caught, I think it just lets us know that society, we're taught this posturing. But I would rather you just come out and be as blatant and open and honest. I always believe the crime was worse than the crime. What I do appreciate is the fact that the woman didn't put everybody through it and just resign. That's what I do. And she's not alone. I can tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what Elaine said.
And save taxpayers' dollars from going to fighting that and
pulling your sword.
Yeah, like that. So, but it goes back to my thing. We need to educate our own kids, have our own schools. We got to really start, instead of buying Nikes and all this other shit. Like, we really start going to invest in it and have our own schools. We really got to start thinking about it. If it's small, if it's only 10, if it's on your block, if it's a home school, whatever it must be. But I want to switch subject. I don't want to rush, but I want to take a time. But this is going to be interesting. I want to see a lot of ladies chime in on this. This is going to be a little touchy right here. So, reality TV star Megan James explains how her man can cheat on her respectively. So, what I understand from this conversation is, like, it's a certain way of cheating. Like some don't come home with a baby, don't come home with a disease. Don't let the woman blow up my spot. Like, she knows her man. He must be a man of, I would say, power or a certain kind of money privilege. And she said, let's don't make it sloppy. Don't be a sloppy cheat. Ladies, is this okay with y'all? But I want to hear your brother's thoughts on this.
I'm gonna need my wife to tap out on this one.
Yeah. So
that's a trigger. Wow.
Yeah. So basically, she's giving a permission slip to cheat.
She's. I won't say
just don't be. Just
I'm
when
not
you go on a
what
trip, don't come back with nothing.
Yeah, because I was listening to Tiffany Cross and people talking about this today in politics. Politicians, they're saying do this on a regular. People go away from the military for a certain amount of times, 18 months at a time. And it's like kind of like understand, just don't bring that shit home. Because people are lonely when they on these long stints in the military and all those stuff like that. So I want to see what the ladies' point of view.
Yeah, I want to see what ladies think about this.
I know. I want to see if anybody's gonna chime in, tap in. If they're not,
they're coming. They're coming. They're coming. I know if one is on this, she's coming. That's what I'm saying. So no, I mean it's crazy. I don't know. People have their own relationships. They have their own idea of what relationships are. You know, I don't know. You know. See if you're going to find out about it, don't embarrass me. It's not fast.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the lady was given a pass, but she's saying like, don't embarrass me. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, and women too. It's on women too, not just men now. Let's they might, you know, they might a little side dude on the side, something like that.
That's my wife. Polite. Yeah, she's being real polite right now.
I think if you have that conversation with your man or your woman, I kind of thinking you're giving them an invitation to do it. You're just telling them, okay, you can do it, just don't be raggedy about it. I still kind of think that it's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know I never had that conversation with my wife.
On monogamy in some cases, so what people are doing, they're willing to make concessions. I think that's what it is. So I think it's basically it's not fixing the leak. You know what I'm saying? It's just giving it some type of temporary hold, and I think that's what it is. And people are saying they'll settle for that, and that's the problem. That's why we always got to consult, you know, Eric Jackson, because he explains that in his book. So, is it Eric or is it
Derik
Jackson?
Derik Jackson.
That's what we gotta have on. He can break it down.
Yeah, it's not an invite. I guess see you in the car. I see, but I think like he did a celebrity basketball player. They go away 41. Let me give you an example. Basketball, they play 41 games in the cities. Think about basketball. They in the city, in and out at a time. Boom, boom, boom. They have chicks waiting in the lobby for them. Baseball's on another level. Baseball be in the city for 3 days.
Yeah.
So I think the women kind of know what's going on. And it's like,
we're talking about people with money. We're talking about dudes with money. We're not talking about just regular guys. A dude with money, it's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, he's going to get away with more because he's affording a woman a certain lifestyle.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want the answer. Don't ask the question. You know, that's what's happening with them. You know, so I mean, I guess, and we know what that's like. You know, there are a couple of instances going on right now. People just kind of protecting the bag, so to speak. You know, so, you know, they don't want to. You know,
and Miko say you're not around your man 24 hours, 24/7. So.
Listen, that's
you're not around your woman either. They ain't all about the men.
That's right, man. Listen, it's a crime of opportunity, man. You know what I mean? That's a crime of opportunity. When you got money and disposable income and you're far away in another state.
I
think it's more realistic. I don't know.
Guys that's athletes, baseball players, basketball players, football players, I look at them like they're crazy when they get married so young and knowing that they got this wealth, they got women throwing themselves
out. They might need to retire first. Before
I mean,
you know.
Doug Christie wife, she's a crazy chick, but that's another side. That chick be running behind him.
Doug Christie wife. Doug Christie wife used to travel on the road with him, right?
Oh, crazy!
She was wilding.
She out of control with that one. I can't mess with that chick. That's a little. She's on a reality show. Something like that. You know, but like the thing is, like certain things, like just don't let it come home. I think that's what it basically saying. Like, you know, people gonna do what they're gonna do. Just don't embarrass them. Don't embarrass them. That's the biggest thing. I'm hearing from a lot of women. Like I was on Clubhouse, they were going like, just don't embarrass me. Same thing with, you know, I just wonder if dudes could handle as much as the guy.
No, you know the women. You know
a guy's not going to do that. He's not going to open that.
Dudes can't handle that, man. We're not built for that. You know,
no. We snap.
Yeah, we're not built for that. Man. You know? Oh yeah, man. You know, wind up and tail or something, man. You know?
You start breaking shit up. You know what I'm saying?
No, those are two things that get you money in that, man.
Yo, my man wrote. He wrote. He said it happens a lot in the military. He knew 2 married people living together overseas. See, that shit happens, man.
That's a whole situation, man.
They always say if you're in the military on a base and you go abroad, don't leave your wife there. Bring her home to her family or somebody. You don't leave her on base. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I ain't messing with Miko said she goes
too.
Yeah, women snap too. So I ain't messing with Miko,
they break out windows, they burn up clothes, they slash
they burn cars, eat up everything, man.
I'm bringing Miko to the next fight in Brownsville because she sounds like she's ready. she got a knife on her right now. Right? Some Vaseline in her purse.
Yeah, spit out a razor blade.
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. She's from the Bronx too, so you know.
Oh, say no more. Say
less.
My wife. Here's one right here. She snaps too. Yeah, that one.
See, I ain't messing with her. I ain't messing with her either, man.
I'm not messing with her. Trust me.
She might cut you with them kitchen knives. I ain't messing with her.
Exactly. First of all, a smart married man won't argue with his wife in the kitchen. It's too much. Yeah. You don't argue with your wife in the kitchen. You crazy? The argument start in the kitchen. You be like, you walk out of the kitchen so she can follow you. It's a trap.
Yeah.
When my wife has her own sword, bro. That's how I knew to get it together. I'm dead serious when we get together. Wait a minute.
Because that's how we wound up on the ID channel.
That's why I said what I said about the Derek Jackson thing. Like for him to be sitting in the same room with his wife after that's insane to me. You could get killed.
You'll get some hot grits on your ass.
Exactly. Look what happened to Al Green. Exactly.
Okay,
right.
Ask you married gentlemen this, and this is the funny thing that always makes me laugh. When you're with a woman, you will see some of the most attractive women in the world. It's something that happens with that. And I feel bad. I saw a guy the other day walking with his wife, and I tell you, this supermodel just popped out of nowhere in front of them. I felt so bad for the man. Even the wife had to understand. The woman was so attractive, even the wife had to understand. But she walking right in front of them, and another man was sitting there like, "Why we had to be on this block?" You know, and I think that's where a level of respect has to come in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing, because it is interesting, and your wife knows. Like, look, you're human. You're still alive. You know.
No. I don't look at other beautiful women because my wife is the most beautifulest woman I've ever seen.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, before we go to watch a chopper, real quick. Have you ever noticed when you go on a trip or flight by yourself, the flight attendants are all old and ugly or gay? But when you go, as soon as you go with your wife, it's like Naomi Campbell walked out. Like they want to drink like or your girlfriend. It's like, what the fuck?
Nah, I never noticed that. I don't notice that. No. I never seen that. I don't notice that. No.
Rod is in the witness protection program.
Rod is not trying to wind up on the ID channel. So
no. I seen that. I caught my wife watching that show one day. I was a little nervous. I said, yo, what are you watching right there? What are you thinking?
Oh God. Yeah. All right. So real quick, on the watch the chop it. City Hill, Rod.
City Hill. This is the second season just started. I say definitely watch it. The first season I thought it was pretty good. It's about a black district attorney, and Kevin Bacon is in it. I don't want to get too deep, but I definitely recommend watching it.
Yeah, I agree. Godzilla versus King Kong. I saw this. I thought it was just
Yeah, let me ask you a question. You remember back in the days, you used to race home for the 3:00 movie, and you used to see Godzilla fight King Kong, and it was a dude in a gorilla suit with PZ fur. That's what I said. Yo, King Kong came a long way. He got his beard shaped up. He got his teeth fixed. He got a perm in his fur. He looks amazing. You know what I'm saying?
The original King Kong look, he got his hair cut in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
It was crazy.
And the new one looked like he went to the Dominicans and cut him with razors.
It looked like a dude in a chimpanzee suit. It looked horrible. Yeah, but special effects come a long way.
It was just okay. Mully, Kelvin.
Mully was excellent, man. It's a true story, and it's about a man in Africa, a rags to riches story. Man has helped over 12,000 orphans. I believe it was in Kenya. Over 12,000 orphans. Man of faith, a man of principle. You will actually love it. It could be a modern day biblical story, but check it out. Really, really inspiring.
Okay, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Derik.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League, man. Listen. I'm gonna tell you like this: if you got something else better to do, which you probably should, you should probably, you should probably do that. You know what I mean? So, but if you got insomnia, you're suffering from insomnia like I do, and you're trying to do something to kill 4 hours of your life,
It's a 4-hour movie.
It's a 4-hour movie.
Wow.
Just egregiously long, bro. Just long for no damn reason.
That's
You know what I
longer.
mean?
That's longer than Scarface and Caligula.
That's
Wow.
listen, bro.
Yeah.
You can look
damn.
at the movie and see all the parts that should have been cut out, man. It was crazy, you know what I mean? But so yeah, I had an assignment and I watched it from I don't know, maybe from 3 o'clock in the morning to 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, man.
All right,
So it was crazy.
all right, so you got 4 hours killed. That's what you
Stop
do.
it. Yeah, if you got 4 hours to kill, and you probably should be doing something else with that time. Yeah, you know,
All right,
but then watch it. But otherwise, chop the shit out of it.
All right, brothers. This was another good week, man. It was a good show. Love you. Love our guest Serene. People, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Yeah, and then also we might be switching to a weekday because we know it's getting warm outside. We want to make sure people we want to figure out the weekday. We want to hear back from you guys. Hit up Sammy, hit up Jammy. You know, all the stuff was out there. So, anyway. Right?
I know you're shutting us down. One thing though, we gotta help keep the Asian community safe too, as well as our community. You know, protect all women and stuff. I know there's a lot going on out there, so we gotta look out for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as we look out for black women first. All right, next week, let's chop it up. All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace. See ya.